it's about ready to click on. I want to welcome everybody to Oneness Talk Radio and Intuitive You. I am so happy to introduce a dear friend of mine. I haven't really talked to her for years. We were just kind of talking about it right before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing though, like after not talking for so long, that you actually can feel such a strong connection. And I really just feel like that's the power of intuition. And this amazing person is Heather Alice Shea, and she has a school in actually Florida, so other side of the United States, and just really shining her light bright and helping people really get to the next level. So I know both Heather and I, really our foundation is intuition, and then just growing more into ourselves, into our businesses and our mission, our ability to contribute to the planet. So Heather, I would love for you to introduce yourself, and I'm making sure we are good. We're definitely live.
Oh,
If
okay.
you
Awesome.
could just introduce yourself to our audience and just welcome.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Abby, thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor to be on your show. Like you said, we've known each other for years, and you are certainly, one of the people in my life that I think we connect at the soul level of sharing a similar mission in the world. And it's just an honor to be here with you. And it's an honor to, to stand next to you as a person who is really endeavoring every day of her life to make intuition be a thing, right? You hold that with me. So I just really just want to, say thank you, really and truly thank you. So a little bit about me. I am Heather Alice Shea. I am the founder and CEO of Atmana Coaching Academy. So basically, in a nutshell, what I do the minutes of my day are spent training and certifying life coaches who want to really formally integrate intuition, the use of their own intuition in session as a viable, grounded, practical skill into their coaching business. So Atmana's claim to fame is that we provide research-supported frameworks that really allow you, the aspiring coach. A lot of our clients are psychotherapists already, hold master's degrees, PhDs in this stuff. They identify as healers, but they want to bring in that intuitive piece. So that's what we do. My background, I really have been a coach since I was 21 years old. I'm one of those people that I didn't know it back then, but I was always doing the thing that I was going to be doing, that I was really called to do. But I began my career as a career coach, helping people find jobs that resonated with them. And then stopped doing that. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mama. I became a mom, and I scrapbooked all day and did play parks all day and just cooked all day. And I really loved it. And then when my daughter got older, I decided, oh my goodness, I really, want to go back into the helping profession. So I got my undergrad in psychology, launched my coaching business. I've got my 10,000 hours in the chair, that's for sure, doing one-on-one work, and then really felt the call to go back to school. And I hold a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. So what I really love about what we do at Atmana, and I think, Abby, you really do this I think you take the same approach, is we call ourselves, coaches or, people who help others, but really what we are is healers, right? Really, that's what we're about. We're trying to help people return to the truth of who they are. And so I'm so passionate about coaching because I truly believe in my heart and soul that this is the vehicle through which people who really want to spend their life fortifying and helping other people, coaching is really, in my opinion, one of the best avenues we can do this. And I say this as a person who has a master's degree in mental health counseling. Like, I say this as someone who was in the system doing this work. Trust me when I tell you, coaching is really, with the exception of doing severe trauma work with a person, in that case, you need to be in the hands of a clinician. This is just kind of, the field I like to play on. And I know so many of your listeners probably, are nodding their heads and going, yeah, that sounds awesome. So that's a little bit about me and what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'd love to just take a minute to focus on intuition and what it means to be intuitive. What do you feel for you it means to be intuitive?
Oh my goodness, this is such a great question. And the nerd in me, right? I'm such a nerdy person. I kind of tend to go back to research and kind of grounding it because it is such an esoteric concept. I suppose I'll give right? Because there's many definitions I could give, right? We could give the psychological definition, but to me, intuition is all about accepting, acknowledging, and operating from the truth that this is a stone cold fact. It's not something a person believes, right? This is a truth that you have within you, an inner intelligence that you can learn to harness. It's an inner technology, it's an inner intelligence with the capability to lead and guide your life in ways that defy rational thought, but are nonetheless accurate and move the needle on what you are here to accomplish in your life in really grounded but mystifying ways. So I think of intuition as the mechanism by which we are informed about the right path we should taking in our life. How should I think? How should I feel? How should I behave? Who do I want to become in this moment, right? Intuition is a mechanism through which we receive the guidance to learn how to step into those things in a more full way. So to me, that's really what it is. It's about accepting the fact that you really have to stop going outside of yourself. If you desire at all to live a purpose-driven life, and to live a life that is your own, you have to forever abandon the idea that somebody else is going to tell you the right way to go. So that's why I love intuition. I envision a world where it's taken for granted that you have this inner guidance. I want that to be like something that people laugh at the idea that you give your power away. Oh, that's silly. Why would I give my power away? It's all right here inside me. So,
and to trust what you know. I think one of the biggest things is to trust that and to move, I often say, from your head to your heart. So you're connected to everything through love, and then you move into your gut. So you're literally being moved forward and you're trusting because it's through you. Right. And sometimes other people's opinions can actually get confusing, right? And just kind of spiral things off. So really just dropping into that center point. Okay, my next step is this. And then you take action on it because it feels right.
Sure. And I think that's great. I love that, to trust yourself and to know that you're following the heart. I think a big impediment to that people face is they worry, well, what if I'm not right? And what if I'm wrong? What if my intuition is wrong? What if this isn't the direct? What am I going to do? What do I? It's so hard to bet on yourself. And my dad, when I was growing up, when I was a little girl, my dad would always say, and he was this rough and tough, Southern guy.
Yeah.
And anytime I do my parents, I always bust into my Southern accent. But he would say, baby, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Baby, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. And I didn't really understand what that meant, but as I got older, I said, Daddy, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You're wrong. Like, what you just said was wrong, Dad. As I got older, I started challenging him on it. And he said, Hessie was my nickname. My family called me Hessie. And he said, Hessie, I'm right in that I'm betting on me. I might be factually wrong, factually inaccurate, right? But the conclusion I'm drawing might not be the best answer or the most correct answer. But his source of rightness wasn't getting the questions to the test right. It was the fact that he trusted his own ability to come up with some type of answer. And so I love that. I would say to you, if you're struggling with trusting your intuition, even if you're wrong, you're still right, because right isn't getting the answer correct. Right is being willing to be a person who endeavors to get their own answer, which is what it is to live that intuitive life. So I'd rather make the gravest of mistakes than surrender my own judgment. And I think that's really the essence of what it is to live as an intuitive.
I agree. And then again, going back to outside things, right? Somebody else might say something's right or wrong, but you actually know it for you within you.
Exactly. Who says what's right for you? Only you.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I love that. And there's such power in that. And there's almost like an inner confidence, right? Because it's like you just know that you know. And then people follow you because they feel that you know, right? They trust you, right? Because you trust you. So it's like really taking a moment, everybody, if you want to tune into what do you know that's true for you within you. And as you notice what that is, ask yourself if you have the courage to follow it. And hopefully that answer is yes. And if not, what is it that you need to be able to follow it? Right? Give yourself
Mm,
that loving support to be able to, you know?
hmm.
Anything else you wanted to
Yeah.
add to that?
No, I love that. I love that you go to the need. That's very, very important because I think when we feel whole, we're more willing to take that leap, right? When we feel like it's safe to jump into that self-trust. So yeah, that's great. That's great.
Totally.
Hmm.
So, are there any other blocks that you've seen? I mean, it sounds like you're working with a lot of people when they feel their intuition guiding them, but maybe they have a fear that's kind of maybe overriding or trying to stop them from following their intuition. How do you get them through that?
Yeah, so I think that if I were to sum up what I feel like the blocks to intuition are, it's I don't really know if anyone is like I think when we get rid of the mythology behind intuition, a lot of that goes away. So in my experience, what I find with the coaches I train, and what we're doing in Atmana is really like it's not only intuitive development, right? But it's actually how to use your intuition with other people, right? So it's very meta, right? It's like three levels above that, right? So yes, you have your intuition, and then yes, you know how to use it as a skill to help your clients step into their own intuition, right? So we can even ratchet this whole thing up, as far as we can go with it. But what I find typically is once we dispel the myths associated with intuition, most people find it way easier. It just becomes like, oh, okay. Um, so in other words, it's about having that insight and a proper educational understanding about what intuition actually is, and then from there it's super easy to step into it. From there we do our I have a six step framework. It's called the intuitive development pathway. We can run a person through that rather easily. How to do interpretation. So in our coaching program, we have a 5-step process that we teach to teach a coach how to begin harnessing and using their intuition as a skill. Interpretation of intuitive information becomes so much easier. Observing what is intuitive information and identifying what is intuitive information becomes easier once you understand the stuff that's not true about intuition. So, and I can go over the three of those super fast if you want me
Sure,
to.
go for it.
The first is that intuition is a supernatural. A lot of people tend to think that intuition is this super ability, a superhuman ability, a meta human, right? Like it's a meta human, like X-Men. Think about like X-Men, right? Like Rogue, she can fly, like she's like can take people's energy, and like Professor X can like read people's mind, and like Jean Grey can like move stuff, and so they think that it's like this super. It's not. We know through the research that every single human being is born and intuitive. In other words, intuitive ability, just like every person is born with the innate ability to learn language, unless there's brain damage done or a birth defect, it is the natural normal human state for every human on earth has the latent ability to learn how to speak a language. That's the exact same corollary to intuition, because what is intuition? It's energetic communication. It's just
Mhm,
energetic communication on the energetic level, whereas
mhm,
talking with our mouth and hearing with our ears and seeing with our eyes, our 5 perceptual, these are communication methods. Sensory experiences informing us as to a 3-dimensional world around us, right? We communicate with our 3-dimensional world through 5 senses. Well, our 6th sense is how we communicate energetically. Okay, so we know that every human being has that ability, and not only that, it's cross-cultural. This is a stable trait. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is, what your ethnic background, racial background, doesn't matter. Every human being has it. So one, this is just like normal people stuff. Normal people stuff. So people think, oh, I'm not like that. I'm like, actually, you kind of are.
yeah.
Um, Another one is, so it's not supernatural. It operates within known psychophysiological systems. That's a $10 word for mind body. A lot of people also think that it's spiritual. It's not spiritual at all. Their world is completely filled with highly intuitive individuals who are complete pieces of like these are not like lovely people, right? Like they're people who use this to their own advantage. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So there's nothing spiritual about being an intuitive. Now, it's true that most intuitive people identify spiritually. Yeah. These are people who they're striving to live better lives. They want to help other people, but it's a misnomer that you have to like be into spirituality to develop intuition and to have intuition. So spiritual intuition is more of a creative faculty than it is a spiritual one, because it's how one uses it that makes it
That's right.
spiritual or not.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, so I teach something called neurolinguistic programming, right? It's very powerful with the mind. So combined with the intuition, it's like, how do you want to use this? This
Right.
is a very powerful tool. Use it for good. Use it for the betterment of the planet, right? And yourself. So exactly. It's because I was
But
like, I
there's a
do
lot
want to
of
interrupt
people-
her, but I got to tell her it's how you use it,
It's
right?
how
And so
you
your
use it.
intuition, it actually tunes you into your soul and that highest frequency,
Absolutely.
right? So when you use that, you'll get on purpose. You'll support yourself and other people. So that's why to me it's the greatest gift. But I do believe it absolutely could be misused. I mean, I know somebody, it's like you can get information because it's accurate. Your intuition will tell you the truth about something.
It's a technology. This again is the myth. Intuition is an inner technology. And once you learn, listen, the people, I could digress into this stuff, but just do a Google search on Russell Targ and the CIA, and you'll learn everything you need to know about these skills. Okay. This is not, this is an inner technology that you can be taught. You can be taught how there are protocols on it. You can be taught. Now, why does it typically we come out of it? We do tend to look at it from the spiritual lens. Well, because for like the majority of human history, right? For our species, it was the mystics. It was the the spiritual seekers who were interested in learning how to master these beautiful skills that we all possess, right? It heralds from a time when human beings understood that they had a soul and that they were here to align to it and that they were here to use this to help the evolution of their brothers and their sisters and the planet, right? So it certainly has that flavor. But 500 years ago, this thing called science, which is what is science? Okay, it's the investigation of the empirical world. It's what we can measure and observe. That really hijacked everything, right? So we are now starting to understand how these inner technologies are used. And now, as we sit currently as human beings in these gifts, we do have a choice to make. And the choice is, I will use this for good. I will use these skills and these abilities, to help people and not to self-benefit. So yeah, so those are two of them, of the myths. So I think once a person understands that, oh, this is an inner technology, I'm in control of how I use it. It's not anything like extra I'm doing. Oh, this is actually really grounded. People start to feel really safe in it, I think, and they start to realize, oh, this is just like I'm learning a skill like I would learn to play the piano, to ride a bike. It just kind of normalizes it and brings it within the world of something that doesn't feel so intense or wild or out there, So that's kind of how I see, I think, how the obstacle is to just realize that this is your birthright. It's understood, it's known, there's nothing to be scared of. You don't have to stop being who you are today in order to step into your intuition. You can still be you. You don't have to go get a new friend group. And big resistance I had when I woke up is I'm like, I am from the South. I like to drink whiskey and say cuss. I'm not that girl that's like, let's go do yoga and align our chakras. That's not me. Okay. Now there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great every now and then, but it's not how I identify at all. That's not me. I want to just go be Heather, just do my thing. And I think a lot of people feel like they have to take on this spiritual persona of what an intuitive is. And you don't, right? You just get to be you, and you just get to unlock this power that's lived inside you your whole life. And as you do that, you're going to feel even more you. You're going to begin expressing even more of who you were born to be. You're going to become even more original, even more authentic as you do it. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's about embracing those notions that really kind of give us permission to step more fully into it. And we're always stepping more fully into it. Wouldn't you agree? Like, even if you are living in an intuitive life, I feel like I'm always um, learning something new, I guess. I walk that path.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're following your intuition, you're going to expand. I think there's a line where you know if you're not, right? And then it's like, how do you move back into alignment with that? So it's that discernment of something doesn't feel quite right. Okay, I need to move back into alignment. And then you're naturally going to grow with love, right? Because you are love. You're born to be that, like blossoming into more of that. So again, just staying in alignment, with what your intuition is saying and taking action on it.
Yeah, I agree. That action piece is so important. I love that you emphasize that, because we can receive that truth. I think we get our answers, but it's another to walk in it. And that's kind of scary, right? Don't you think? I mean,
Yeah,
it's to encourage a person to
absolutely.
do it. It's like, wow, we
Yeah.
have to reality test that. And I don't know I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but I sort of feel like deep down, we all kind of do know what we need to do, or I actually think the answers are way more apparent
Yeah.
than we think they are. It's
Totally.
more like, are you willing to do something with it?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
You should quit the job you hate. I don't know what to do. Should I quit my job, girl? You
Yeah.
know, you know.
Right.
Are you gonna do it? So I agree. It's acting on it that
Mhm.
that's really a challenge. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. And then when you take action on it, that's actually where the freedom comes.
Hmm.
Because you're like, whoa, like it's so amazing. It's more amazing than I could have imagined, right? Because your intuition does have that intelligence. It's beyond your intellectual understanding. And so
Hmm.
when you trust it, your world opens so much bigger.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So that's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I guess the trick is, it actually does defy the rational mind, our brain's understanding
Yeah.
of how we're supposed to move forward in life. This was many years ago. I was in meditation, really struggling with doing what you're saying, which is, taking action. And I thought, we think we know our answers, right? I should do this. I should do that. Think of it like you're in a city and you want to get to the other side of town, and you have a map in front of you that shows you the streets. And so you can look at your map and you can say, okay, I need to take a left here, right here, left here, right here. But your intuition is saying, don't go that way.
Hmm.
Don't go that way. Go this way. Take a left right here. But you look at your map, your little linear map, and you're like, no, that's not the closest route. And your intuition will say, no, just trust me. Just take a
Hmm.
left.
Hmm.
But what you can't see, what your intuitive self can see, is that there's a car accident up there and there's a roadblock. You can't see what you think is the right way. There's all kinds of obstacles to it, but your intuition somehow knows how to get you to that point in a much easier, faster way, even though on paper it doesn't look like that's the best way, right?
Hmm.
So it's just, the willingness, I guess, to trust that. And I'll tell you, I still struggle with that today. It's not easy for me to jump off that cliff every time I go to trust my intuition. And I do this for a living, right? Like I think it's really important to highlight that it is a radical act of trust like to continue to do that, despite how many miracles you've seen, despite the miracles you see in your own life, despite the miracles you see in other people's lives, right? I see my clients doing it, and I'm like still amazed at how scary it can be to take that next step. So I just want to honor, for those of you watching or listening, like just know that you're seen and held in that, and you're not alone, because it's so challenging for all of us. And I think that's kind of an inherent part of the process. So if you feel that way, that is okay. That's a part of this. This is a path for the courageous and brave.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there can't be courage without a little bit of fear. There can't be bravery without feeling like, oh my God, so that part of it is normal. And like you say, it's just a matter of saying yes to that and kind of pushing through and trusting that it's all going to be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. So
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Well, is there any other stories that you want to share of just people you've worked with or your own life of when you have followed your intuition, what's happened?
Oh my goodness. Gosh, so many examples, right? I'm sure you probably, when you get asked that question, so many flood into your mind. I think I'll tell this story as it relates. This was back when I was still doing a lot of private intuitive readings. So when I started my coaching practice, I did so many free readings just to learn how my intuition would work in session with a person. I had this one session I'll never forget. I tell this story in an effort to encourage you to always trust what you get, even when it doesn't make sense, even when you're scared to death. So I had this lady come, she booked a session with me. I've never met her before in my life. I just had like the online calendar. The session pops up. I don't take any information beforehand, right? Because I do kind of a cold intuitive reading. I jump into session with this lady. It's in, there's even no video. I couldn't even see the person's face. And how I would start my readings is I would just tap in, no information ahead of time, only a person's name. And when we began the session, she said she was there to talk about her career. Okay. So that's what my conscious mind knows. We're here to talk about career. All I could pick up on this entire reading. Now, usually I get a lot of information. I sat and I tapped in and I felt and saw two things and two things only. One was the most hideous color yellow. It was like, it was not pretty. Okay. Just this horrible color yellow. And then a man and a woman standing on a beach in Hawaii and with him on one knee. Yellow, man on a beach in Hawaii, one knee. Yellow, man on a beach in Hawaii with one knee. And so I'm tapping in and I'm trying to get information and I'm like, none of this makes sense. And I wasn't trusting myself. I felt like I needed to like find out stuff about her job, right? I let myself feel pressured by what what the client was wanting, which of course is a normal feeling to have. I was so scared that I wasn't like picking up on anything. It was just like garbage information, this yellow and this proposal. And so I said, look, I'm not really picking up anything on about your job. Can you tell me maybe a little bit about what your problem is, what you'd like to chat about, what you want to discover insight on? She starts talking to me about her job. All I can get is this yellow and the guy on one knee. And so after she's finished for a few minutes, I said, look, I got to be honest with you. I don't feel any of that. I don't have one sense or feeling whatsoever that is what you're here to talk about. All I can see, and I have no idea what this means, is a putrid color yellow and a man on one knee and a man proposing to a woman in Hawaii on one knee. She starts crying hysterically. 8 months before this session, her daughter died of SIDS, and her husband committed suicide a few months later.
Wow.
Because he blamed himself for the death. The baby's nursery was painted yellow, and the husband hated the color. And he would always say, I hope our daughter forgives you for painting our nursery, this putrid, he called it puke yellow or, something like that yellow. He would always give her a hard time about it.
Wow.
And he proposed to her in Hawaii. So here's my point. You don't have to understand the wisdom that's coming through you. Sometimes it's not for you. Okay. All you can do is trust yourself and trust what's coming through and trust that eventually, as you step up, as you act on it, as you speak it truth to power, as you offer it humbly to the world, who needs it will get it and it will help. And I was just shocked, that this made sense to her. And I shudder to think, had I not had the courage to say to her, all I'm getting is this color yellow and a man proposing to a woman in Hawaii. I shudder to think, had I not had the courage to say it to her, because that's why she booked the session. She'd never had an intuitive reading before, and she wanted to make sure that I wasn't bullshitting her. And that's why she told me career.
Wow.
So for her, she needed to hear it, she knew she didn't know me. She knew that we had no connection, so I bring that up to say, that's the power of this, you guys. That's the power of living an intuitive life. Okay. How many years could that woman spend in therapy with a therapist or talking to somebody without these gifts, without these abilities? We have something so special to offer ourselves in the world, right? It's something we do in relationship with one another, that deep, deep, deep connection. And so, I think that's probably one of my most favorite stories about using intuition, because it speaks to me and my own struggles in doing it. My own need to be right, my own need to perform, my own need as a practitioner to feel like I have all the answers and, dictate the way that I serve, right? Like, no, we move ourselves out of the way and we just step forward in that sacred service and trust in spirit that as we deeply connect to one another with that well-intentioned heart, that miracles happen.
So true. I love that. And I just love highlighting the part that you don't always know why, right? And even as you're getting this information, you're like, what does this mean? And then you figure out later, right? You kind of connect the dots, So just to trust what comes through.
Yes. I think rarely do we understand what it means, right?
Until
Because
later,
by
yeah.
definition, it's higher intelligence. So of course we're
Right,
like, I don't know.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love it. It's so cool. The next question that's coming through is how to move people through the fear, right? So when they have the intuition, but then the fear comes, how do you help people get through that fear piece, right? Because often it's an illusion or it's energy that maybe we don't know how to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you move people through that?
I think the first step that I always really encourage everyone to take is to really own your sovereignty,
Mm,
that you are sovereign. There's nothing to be afraid of.
mm,
You're not in control, but you are in command. And there's a difference between control and command. Control is, hey, I'm the one running the show here. I'm not running the show, girl. I can't get up before 9 sometimes. Okay.
mm,
But you are, so we're not in control, but we are in command. And I think that we are sovereign in our lives. And so if you're scared, or if there's fear that comes up for you, if you feel like it's going to be an overwhelming experience, a big thing I hear with respect to the fear of really stepping into using your intuition is, what if I find out something I don't want to know about myself? Or what if I find out something about my life that I'm not ready to accept? Or what if I can't, what if I become too aware of other energies, or, dark energies are a part of that, just all of that kind of that shadowy unknown. The first thing that's so important to know is that you are sovereign and you are in command, and nothing can hurt you or harm you unless you are giving it permission. And that is so entirely true. You stand in your energy, you stand in your presence, and you go, no, I am directing what's happening here. And you can absolutely do that. One of my support coaches, her name is Stephanie Shaughnessy, a friend of mine for 10 years. She's a former homicide detective, highly psychic and intuitive, former homicide detective. Can you imagine the stuff she's seen?
mm.
And I met her because she was profoundly psychic, showing up to these homicide scenes. And I said to her, girl, you do not have to put up with this energetic bombardment, the stuff that you are absolutely allowed to say what happens in your own energetic field. Absolutely. And she says, Heather, that changed my life, to just know that I'm sovereign. So I'd say, one, know you're sovereign. And then from there, don't be afraid to face it. What is it that you're afraid of? Face it. It's all right. It's just a part of yourself that's been disowned, that hasn't been loved maybe enough, a part of you that maybe needs you to accept it, to love it, for you to really come in deep connection with that part of you that is sitting in fear.
Mm.
So that's how I approach it. I actually teach a technique called "Come Sit Next to Me," where when you feel that fear, you need to ask that part of you, "Hey, no, come here. I love you. Tell me what you're scared about," and it will tell you. It will tell you what it's scared of, and then you, just like a mom would or a good friend would, you would say, "Okay, thank you so much for letting me know you're scared about that. I promise I'll keep you safe, and I promise I'll listen to you, and you're not alone. We're doing this together. It's all right. We're going to let our higher self lead us. Okay, we're safe." So know you're sovereign, and then you have to get into relationship with what's scaring you. You have to pull it closer to you, not push it away. You have to actually pull it closer, right? I'm hoping that makes sense. But as we
No, it's
do,
beautiful. Yeah, no, I was just thinking this morning, I woke up and I was like talking to my inner child. I'm like, why am I doing this? And then you're like saying that. I'm like, of course, I was probably feeling what you were going to say, right? It's like bringing all parts of us together. Because to me, it's
yeah,
like that, you know?
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, inner child work is a part of it. Carl Jung, one of the fathers of, I mean, he's the guy who discovered archetypes, right? This is like one of the most brilliant human beings in the world. He said the human psyche is a loose conglomeration of many different parts of self
Mm-hmm.
that all through the spiritual path, right? Our spiritual path of ascension, of self-actualization, that we learn to integrate. We have them like each other again and talk to each other again, right? So that is what it is. That it's really looking at all of those facets of who we are and saying, oh, it's okay. We can be in relationship with ourself and see all parts of ourself in love and non-judgment. And I think doing those two things really, like between sovereignty and that, you realize there's really nothing to be afraid of. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, I know you have some cool things going on in your company. Did you want to share ways that people can get more of this information and learn from you in your school?
Yeah. So, well, I know, Abby, you do intuitive development. So what I would say is if you want to, step further into developing your own intuitive power, I would say work with Abby.
You're so
uh,
sweet.
truly, right? Truly. If you are interested in looking into a career, right? Or, the path of becoming an intuitive coach, then Mana really is an awesome place for you to begin that journey, right? So we host a workshop. It's called Live Your Purpose, Launch Your Practice. We run it every, month or so. So it is a running workshop. So if you're watching this months from now, this is still relevant. If you go to heatheralishea.com/intuitive-coach-launch, you can register for that. It's a 5-day live experience, right? So I teach live 5 really fundamental concepts that we need to have in place as we become intuitive focused practitioners as a coach. So I would say if you're interested, just attend that free workshop. It's called Live Your Purpose, Launch Your Practice. And it helps you get those elements down of creating a viable, really aligned. We always say in Mana, we do business and life purpose first, profit next.
Mm.
So is this about helping you have a career where you can, make money doing what you were put on this earth to do? Absolutely. But that comes next after we focus on purpose first. So that's why we call it Live Your Purpose, Launch Your Practice. So I would say just check that out and join us for that.
So can you repeat if you didn't, I didn't hear it. What's the website they can get that from?
Heather Alice Shea, and the Shea is spelled like the butter, SHEA. And so Heather Alice Shea /intuitive coach launch. Or you can just go to heatheralishshea.com and you're going to see a button in the nav bar that says free workshop, and you can click that and we'll get you in there.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. So cool. Wow. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience today?
I would say if you are listening to this in the, so it's our present moment now, Abby, but in our future, we're calling to you from the past. If you are listening to this right now, no matter where you are in your now moment, here is what I know to be true. I know to be true that in some way, shape, or form, you're called to live and walk in this intuitive lifestyle. Okay. I know that to be true. If you're hearing this right now, in some way, shape, or form, you are called to it. Maybe you've asked for a sign. Maybe you have asked for guidance. Maybe you're seeking something, right? You've been asking for that. This is what I know to be true. Okay. And if that's you, I want you to say yes. I want you to say yes. Just say yes to whatever that thing is, because you're not here by accident. You're not here by accident. This isn't just some random YouTube show you're watching. This isn't just some random radio show you're watching. In this moment, you are here for a purpose. And I am asking you to say yes to whatever that thing on your heart is. Because so often we are given the sign and we are given the guidance, but we walk straight past it. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to see this moment as pivotal and profound, right? Because that is really what it is. So that would be my ask, that I see you. I know you're here. You got this. Just jump.
I love it. That's so amazing. Well, I often leave just a few minutes for questions. So I'm going to announce the number if anybody wants to call in and either ask Heather or I a question. So you can call 858-692-4555. And we will be here to pick up your call. And yeah, let's see. I'll give you a buzz right after this, Heather. And this will be available for recording. So you can go on onenesstalkradio.com. I'm sure Heather will be sharing this with people as well. So just feel free to reach out to us. You can go to my website, which is lifeforceconnection.com. And at the bottom, One Heart Global is. So we have a big mission in Ecuador right now with an orphanage over there. So we go to orphanages and teach intuition. So that's where my heart is and my mission is. So we've been to Bali and Thailand so far. So this year in March, we have a retreat coming up for those that are called, and also just be working one-on-one with the kiddos there. So
Wow.
super excited about that. Yeah. So, and yeah, there's probably a lot of people, that will there's a lot of people that it just ripples out to, right? It's just one at a time, and then they tell their people. So
where is it at in March? Where are you going in March?
so it's in Ecuador. So it's a place called Tosa Blue Mountain. So it's in the Andes Mountains. So they actually are the founders of Oneness Talk Radio, the show that we're on right now.
Oh,
so yeah,
wow.
we connected with them back in, I think it was July of last year. Yeah. So just amazing. And we'll have the Intuitive Factor workshop where you just activate this live, and then afterwards see the kids. So we've been talking with the kids via Zoom, and so sending them money, but there's nothing like actually being there, and we want to build a school. So it's like, got to get there, hands in the dirt.
I love it. Oh, that's so cool. And that just gets me so excited, Abby, because these kids won't know life not connected. Right?
Yeah, it's the importance of going there is to know the difference of activating your intuition, because it's always there, right? So giving them the experience of, oh yeah, I do know. It's like, even when we've gone to these other places, it's like the kids already know, just like us as adults already know. We all know, but it's creating this space, the unconditional love, the non-judgment. Funny, I think some of the same things you were talking about, right? It's the same philosophy. It's the way intuition works, because you got to be in that place to then be able to receive. And then your chakras align, right? I am not chakra yoga girl.
Yeah.
I do chakra.
Good. Hey, we work well together then. Between the two of us, we'll get everybody.
Exactly. Have a drink after, but do yoga first, please.
Yeah.
But I love the accent, by the way. That was fun to listen to that, which reminds me, I need to learn better Spanish. So yeah, that's obviously Spanish speaking there, but there's a lot of translators, so we should be good. So yeah, I think that's it. Y'all can also, now I'm getting Texas, can go to oneheartglobal.co just to go directly there, and you'll see the retreat and donations there. And real quick, just because it's coming through, we have classes called the Universal Language of Love coming up in March. And this is actually a way we give back as well. So if you're interested in that, you can go to abby@lifeforceconnection.com and sign up, because I just talked to the team this morning, and it's just, we actually have somebody from Australia coming in too to teach those classes. And Heather, you might want to be a part of that too, because it's just experts in the field that we just teach universal language of love and then give back to the kids. So it's a really fun way to just
that's great.
be the universal language of love. So yeah, we can talk more.
Yeah, we can talk more about that for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So, and your other coaches might enjoy it once they're trained from you. So that's fun. All right. Well, I'm not feeling anything else coming through. You are wrapping up a little bit early today. I have not seen any callers come in. Like I said, I'll give you a buzz right after this. Yeah, anything else that's coming through, Heather?
No, just a big thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're
Mhm.
so amazing. You too.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, sister. Well, check her out, everybody. Please go to that. And then just go on her site, heatheralishea.com, and just like, she just has so much great stuff going on. I went on there this morning. I was like, look at her go.
Oh, you're
Really
sweet.
amazing.
Well, I guess I can tell you one more thing. If you want to figure out, I have a little quiz, which everybody really likes. It's the Intuitive Coach Archetype quiz. Even if you aren't an aspiring coach, I would say take it, because what it does is it helps you identify sort of your, sort of the primary way you identify in the world as a sensitive, intuitive, as an empath, right? Just kind of honing in on the archetypal essence, really, of how you show up in the world. And people just love it. So, but I used Greek mythology and the goddesses of the Greek pantheon to describe it. And people just, it's crazy. I'll get emails from people. Oh, I even made Pinterest boards. Oh my God. But I just can't even, I can't. I got so excited. I'm like, so anyway, so it's kind of like using that universal energy for us to understand our innate gifts and our strengths, and how we are sort of, I don't know how to say it, like born to play big in the world. That's a good way to say it. Like born to play big. So go take that and you'll find out if you're an Athena, a Hecate, a Demeter, or a Persephone. You'll figure out what your archetype is. And I send you like this awesome report with your strengths and your areas of opportunity of growth. And of course, Pinterest boards, if you're interested in, branding and starting a business. I kind of give you like a little visual aesthetic of, maybe what your brand could look like if you really wanted to embrace that part. So check out that little quiz too. It's super fun.
Aw, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's probably going to confirm a lot of what you already know. I mean, it's a great way to get more information, but hopefully
Right.
it's going to bring you back to what you already know. And I think really the last thing I want to say is follow your heart and your gut, your intuition, and take action on it, right? Because then we all get to experience your love.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you, Abby.
You're welcome, you guys. All right, everyone, we'll see you next week. I actually have a client on the show next week introducing his book. So make sure to join us. We're super excited. So yeah. So until then, have a great week and follow your intuition.